Welcome back to TMZ Sports. My name is Evan, along with Michael J. Babcock.
What's up, guys?
The great Renee Montgomery.
Hello there.
All right,
the great
Alex
Mike
Smith.
Babcock.
Well, yeah, you're okay.
Throw a great in front.
You're okay. Get to the pros in something, and we can add great to your name.
I can't. The great Babcock. Yes.
So, you know what? Get to the pros or become a magician. If you become a magician, we can call you the great Mike Babcock, like the great Houdini and the great.
Fair enough.
All right, look. Alex Smith has announced he's retiring from professional football. Is something that a lot of people thought was going to happen a long time ago, but he proved everybody wrong after suffering that catastrophic leg injury in 2018. Remember, his leg was snapped. His bone was poking out through the skin. He had an infection afterward that doctors say threatened his life. Like, he is not only lucky to be alive, lucky to be walking. And despite all of that, you know, he worked his ass off in rehab, underwent like 17 surgeries, and got back and played snaps in the NFL this past season for the Washington football team. It's one of the greatest comeback stories of all time. Go ahead, Babcock.
Yeah, right. Not only came back, he played really well and actually led Washington. They won the division and they made the playoffs. Like,
yeah, and so
amazing.
People were expecting, you know, he was going to be back in the league again this year after proving that he could play. Yeah. But this morning, Alex Smith released a statement saying he was retiring from the NFL. Here is the video statement. Take a look.
2 years ago, I was stuck in a wheelchair, staring down at my mangled leg, wondering if I'd ever be able to go on a walk with my wife again or play games with my kids in the yard. I don't know what it was, but all of a sudden, I felt stronger, more driven, and what once seemed impossible began to come into focus. So to everyone out there, whether you're a part of Niner Nation, the Chiefs Kingdom, or the Burgundy and Gold, I thank you. Because even though I've got plenty of snaps left in me, after 16 years of giving this game everything I've got, I can't wait to see what else is possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's curtains on an amazing career. 16 years. He was the first overall pick way back in the day. He's made close to $200 million in contract money. He leaves.
I'm so excited, Ev.
Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on this, Renee. Go ahead.
I'm so excited. Every time I watched him play, I felt like I was almost holding my breath. And because I just didn't want him to get hit too hard. I didn't want him to get hurt. And the reason I'm so excited as well is because when you get an injury that takes you off the field, your only thought process is getting back to the field. So he was able to fulfill that inner thing that happens where he got to get back on the field. He got to play, and he actually got to play well. So he got to leave on a high note. I mean, you can't write the story better than that. So I'm so happy for him. And I'm so happy for his family because I know that that was going to be a hole there if he didn't get there. So I just feel like it was a closed circle. Yeah. Like, he got to fulfill everything he wanted to do.
Yeah, I think he completely changed the narrative on his career. Remember, you had people when he was originally drafted, you know, small hands, weak arm, bust, and he changed the entire narrative. And I agree with you, Renee. Like, I would watch him, and normally if I'm watching like the Giants game, I like go against those scrub Eagle quarterbacks, like for Dak Prescott. Get that guy, kill him. But I was always so scared. You didn't want to see Alex Smith get hurt again. And now he'll do big things. And you look back, he had a great career. And what an inspiring comeback for not just athletes out there, for anybody out there. You can look towards this guy. You can overcome anything. He almost died.
It's really true. And by the way, Dak Prescott, who suffered a really catastrophic injury this season as well, said that he looked to Alex Smith for inspiration because he said, if Alex Smith can come back from this, then I can come back from this too. So he's inspiring younger quarterbacks, which I think is really amazing. One more thing before we get out of here is, remember, Alex Smith had that brace, that metal contraption on his leg to stabilize the limbs when he was recovering. And he took it to an artist and had it molded into the shape of the Lombardi trophy. It's a keepsake that's in his house that he'll have for the rest of his life as you know, an item that he can look to and say, yeah, the chips were down and things were bad, but I got through it. And I'll always have this to remind me of that. And you're right, Renee. What an amazing thing to be able to look back and say, I came back from a place that nobody thought I could come back from, and I proved everybody wrong. So congratulations to Alex Smith. Now enjoy your $200 million. Be happy, man. Congratulations. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. My name is Evan, along with Michael J. Babcock.
What's up, guys?
The legend, Renee Montgomery.
Hello there.
All right. Interesting photo has surfaced of Deshaun Watson and his girlfriend together, JILLY and ANAIS. People were wondering how their relationship was going amid all of the allegations of sexual misconduct against the Houston Texans quarterback. But she pretty much put all of the speculation to rest. showing a photo of the two of them together on a jet ski during a getaway over the weekend. Now, we've blackbarred her hands because she's got her middle finger up on both hands, which I think is probably a message to the critics and people who have been speculating. But I think this is a photo that a lot of people have wanted to see. There's been a lot of interest about their relationship because they had a very high-profile relationship for the past couple of years. You've seen them hanging out together, have parties together, go around the world together. And in the wake of the 22 women accusing Deshaun Watson of sexual misconduct, the question is, would JILLY and ANAIS stick by his side or head for the hills? And the answer is clearly, to me, she's riding with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something I was actually thinking about last week because in her own right, she's pretty popular. She's a model. You know, she's been in other high-profile relationships years back. So she's a pretty big deal herself. And I was curious, the other side of all these allegations are that they're accusing Deshaun of cheating on her in a way. So I wondered if she had said, like, see you later. Now we have our answer, though. They are still together. I think that means something. I think that does send a positive signal out to people from Deshaun Watson's side of things that, hey, my girlfriend believes me. She's riding with me. And I think that's important.
Yeah, for me, I would just say, you know, you kind of see that in the beginning. And like we talk about, we don't even know what to believe having heard both sides. So imagine being someone that's close to the person that's getting accused.
Yeah.
Well, you're automatically going to believe that person because even us who we're unbiased, I don't have a dog in the fight and I just don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just difficult though, because we've seen this time and time again where women have stood beside the man that's accused. And then obviously once more evidence comes out, then they separate. But I mean, I can't really say I blame her other than the fact that it's just when there's smoke, there's fire. So at bare minimum, the lawyer has admitted to he's cheated. Like at bare minimum, that's not even a question. Right. It's known that.
Well, I will say this though, Renee. The lawyer, Deshaun Watson's attorney, has said that Deshaun acknowledges that he did have sexual encounters with some of the women that have accused him of sexual misconduct. But I want to point out that we don't know the details about Deshaun's relationship with his girlfriend. You don't know if, some people have open relationships, some don't. You don't know. I mean, we don't know what's going on behind.
Yeah, but I can tell you one thing about women. If we are going to have this open relationship, you don't want everyone to know about everyone that the other person is with. Like even whatever agreements you have, people get upset when other people know about whatever agreement you have. So at bare minimum, it's not a good look.
Yeah, it's like I'm watching that show, Secession, and there's that couple that have an open relationship on Secession, and they thought it was great at the beginning, and then it just runs into a wall. You never know. It works for some people and not for others. But look, the takeaway of this one is watch Succession. It's actually a good show. Welcome back to the show. My name is Evan, along with WNBA legend Renee Montgomery.
Hello there.
All right, Renee, we've spent a lot of time talking about the movement to spotlight more female athletes across the board, right? Draymond Green got in a lot of hot water for saying that female athletes, particularly basketball players, are doing too much complaining and not enough action in terms of getting more media exposure, which will ultimately result in higher salaries for female athletes in basketball and soccer and other sports like that. Well, now I think Adidas, and this is a good thing for Adidas here, is listening and spotlighting a really talented, really charismatic female athlete, WNBA star Erica Wheeler. They're featuring her in an ad campaign. She's a member of the LA Sparks. She's a WNBA All-Star. She sat out this past season, but now she's with the LA Sparks. And check out the moment when Erica Wheeler goes out in Los Angeles and sees that she is the focal point of a new ad campaign by Adidas, and they're putting her face on the side of a building. This is a massive, massive advertising campaign, and you got to see the video of the moment that she sees her image for the first time. It's pretty incredible. Take a look.
No! D, that's me.
That's a whole building, yo.
That's me.
And they still gotta cover that side.
Like, that's me. What?
Yeah, Renee, we talk about this all the time. How important is this, and how proud are you of Erica?
Listen, this is what I'm here for. We love to see it. On her social media posts, just so people can understand how amazing this is. She talked about how she went from making $200 a week 7 years ago to having multiple billboards in LA of her. And shouts to Adidas, shouts to Madison. I saw her post that Madison was the one behind that. Shouts to the brands that are buying in early. And I'm talking about investing early. We all see what's happening with women's sports, the WNBA, with women in general. And Adidas is getting ahead of the front. I mean, that's not the only billboard. That's just the biggest billboard in LA. And Erica, I mean, she's so dope. So I couldn't be happier for her.
This is what we're talking about. Lean into the athletes, the superstar female athletes, and in their ability on the court, right? The same way that you would market a male athlete, a male NBA star, one that can break ankles and dunk and come up with these highlight moments. Keep that same energy when it comes to female athletes.
Keep that same energy, Em. Yes.
And that's what they're doing right now with Erica Wheeler. So shout out to Adidas. I think this is a really smart move because you're getting into business with the real one. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. My name is Evan, along with Michael J. Babcock.
What's up?
Renee Montgomery.
Hello there.
LeBron James is taking heavy criticism for a post he put on social media showing a police officer who was involved in the fatal shooting of a 16-year-old girl. It's this post right here. The man you're looking at is an officer who works in Columbus, Ohio, who was called to the scene of an incident where a 16-year-old girl, Ma'Khia Bryant, was involved in an altercation, a physical altercation with two other women. And when the officer arrived at the scene, he claims, well, body cam footage shows that Ma'Khia was, it looks like she was going after another young girl with an item in her hand that the officer involved believes to be a knife. So the officer pulled out his gun, and in what he claims is a moment where he had to make a decision about how he was going to react, fired 4 shots at Ma'Khia, who again, the officer believes was carrying a knife, and killed her. So she passed away, and the officer believes that his actions were justified because he believes that he was saving the other woman from being stabbed. There is a big debate. There is an investigation going on into this incident. I'm sure you've heard about it all over the news. Local law enforcement officials and prosecutors and politicians have all talked about this and have said that they are really going to do a full investigation to see if the officer did anything wrong. LeBron James posted a photo of the officer who pulled the trigger and posted this note saying, "You're next, #accountability." The only takeaway for me about what this could possibly mean in the wake of the Derek Chauvin trial is that he hopes that this officer will also be prosecuted the same way that Derek Chauvin was prosecuted, and that he hopes to hold this officer accountable for what LeBron, again, this is my opinion, the way I'm looking at it is LeBron clearly believes that this officer crossed the line, overstepped, used violent actions when they weren't necessarily needed, and he hopes that this officer is brought to justice. A lot of people are having issues with the way that LeBron is portraying this officer, including the National Fraternal Order of Police, which tweeted out, LeBron should educate himself and frankly has a responsibility to do so on the facts before weighing in. The officer involved saved a young girl's life. No amount of gaslighting will change that after the fact. Tom Cotton, who is a senator from Arkansas, tweeted, LeBron James is inciting violence against an Ohio police officer. This is disgraceful and dangerous. And a lot of people have weighed in with opinions on this. There are a lot of people, including Lenny Dykstra's conservatives, I guess, who are saying really upset at LeBron and going after him on social media. And there are some people who are defending LeBron James. LeBron James, as a matter of fact, I think it's worth pointing out, has deleted the post and explained it this way. I'm so damn tired of seeing black people killed by police. I took the tweet down because it's being used to create more hate. This isn't about one officer. It's about the entire system, and they always use our words to create more racism. I am so desperate for more accountability. So I got to ask on this one, is what LeBron did right or wrong, and what should happen next?
You know, for me, I really have, and I'm not even trying to be funny, but can cops fight? Like, are cops like trained in hand-to-hand combat? I'm only asking because a lot of times we see the first resort of cops is to just shoot. There's like no de-escalation process. I understand that the item in her hand could have been a knife, and I'm not even talking, I'm just talking about like what are certain protocols? Are cops able to de-escalate a situation without shooting someone. If a cop is scared in a situation, of course, the first thing they're going to do is pull for their gun or accidentally pull for their gun and grab their taser or the reverse. There has to be some type of training that makes people better at resolving situations. So whether it's right or wrong, I think that policing has to be better. It shouldn't result, like every time there's an incident or somebody calls the police, it shouldn't result in a shooting. And I know it doesn't every time, but we see so many times that it does. So that's my stance on it.
We have to realize that there are literally tens of millions, if not more, police calls of service made a year. And, you know, the ones we see are the ones that turn out terribly, right? In this situation, look, here's the deal. LeBron James is one of the 2 or 3 most influential athletes ever. You're talking about like LeBron James and Muhammad Ali. Like that's how big and powerful LeBron James is. And I think his heart is in the right place. LeBron is not Tom Smith on Twitter, though. His words matter. He has 132 million followers. And again, he is very influential. That's why when he talked about maybe not getting the vaccine, that's why people were upset, because people take LeBron James' word. They heed his advice. His opinion matters, and he helped shape other people's opinions. Here, we have strong evidence that this cop probably saved a girl's life. There's nothing else to say about this besides that I think he jumped to conclusions here, and I think that's why he ultimately deleted the tweet.
There are 2 sides on this issue, where there's one side they're saying LeBron should pump the brakes and wait for more law enforcement experts to kind of go into the situation and see if Renee has a point, right? To see if there was, if once you speak to law enforcement experts who are literally study this all day long and they analyze the video and they go through all the information, was this the best approach, or could there have been a better way to resolve this without the fatality? If they found that this officer acted inappropriately, then yes, I hope he's held accountable. On the other hand, if they find that he did act appropriately, then I feel like and this is obviously if it's a hypothetical, I don't know how this is going to play out, then maybe LeBron James might have a conversation with that guy and they can talk about how to kind of make things right.
That's going awfully easy, Evan, on him. How about if he saved somebody's life and he just got called a murderer in front of 132 million people? How about then?
Well, look, I mean, at
the end of the day, that's like, he's a cop. That's words. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, think of the things that LeBron James gets called every day. And yes, he doesn't have 132 million followers, but think of the politicians that attacked him. Think about all the celebrities that are conservative. Who cares if like, to me, if you're a cop and you save someone's life and you feel firm in it, like, go on about your business and keep saving lives then, if that's the case. Like, I don't think he does, like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's like, okay, you did your job right, then keep it moving. People don't give me a pat on the back when I make like if I do go to practice on time and stuff.
I know,
like,
but,
I don't
Renee,
know.
going to practice and being forced to take another human's life, they're
2 completely different things, but this is his job.
It's a tough situation all around. The bottom line is, the law enforcement officials in Ohio have said this too. At the end of the day, a life was lost. That's a tragedy.
Exactly.
And personally, I'm going to be following this case to see the results of the investigation. Welcome back to the show. I'm Evan, along with Michael J. Babcock.
What's up?
Renee Montgomery.
Hello there.
All right, Stephon Diggs is in the news. He's the wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. He's a big star, but this is a weird story. I want to actually title this one, The Mysterious Mercedes G-Wagon. Okay, now, Stephon Diggs has a beautiful G-Wagon that he drives around. People have seen him in it. He's been posting pictures of it on his social media for a long time. Here's the shot of him with it when it was white back in 2019. It currently has a new paint job. It's got a little darker color on it. And the reason we know that is because it was found abandoned underneath an overpass near the Miami airport station in Florida at around 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. You can take a look right here. You can see the G-Wagon is just sitting there off the road, and it was found abandoned. There was nobody there. Neither Stephon or anybody connected to him was found at the scene. Cops were called, and they ultimately decided to have it towed away because they couldn't find anybody to be like, hey, anybody want to take this car and pick it up, right? But they saw the license plate and the tags. They knew it was registered as Stephon Diggs. And this isn't like a jalopy. This is like a really nice car. Didn't we find out that the sticker on this is like $135,000?
Yeah, brand new G-Wagon is about $135,000 starting price right now. They are beautiful cars.
Yeah, so why would anybody, especially Stephon Diggs, just ditch a super expensive car by the side of the road? Well, that's the question that police have had, and They launched an investigation, but they haven't really been able to get any answers. So we ended up calling Stephon Diggs' rep and said, hey, what's going on? And this is what we were told. Quote, Stephon was not driving the car that night. He allowed a friend to use the car while he was gone. They're saying he was not even in the state of Florida. He was out of the state. Unfortunately, the friend got a flat tire with the car, and that instead of like waiting around or doing anything, just left the scene. And the big question I think that we're all left with right now is if somebody like Stephon Diggs like lent you their prized $135,000 car and you got a flat tire, would you just leave it under an overpass like that? Or would you like call the tow truck yourself to get it towed away? A lot of this stuff really isn't making sense to me, but here's what we know right now. Stephon isn't really mad about it. The cops, this isn't like a high priority for them because nobody was injured. Nobody is saying like, oh, I suffered some kind of damage or injury or anything from this. So it just kind of like it got towed away. Stephon will probably go get the car from the tow yard and everybody will move on with their day. But there are a lot of weird questions here, aren't there?
Yeah, like first of all, if I'm Stephon, I'm like, go get my car to stop playing. What are you doing? If that's what really happened, go get my car. I let you use my car while I'm out of town, and this is how you treat it.
Yeah.
I've been in that position though, like where you're doing a favor for someone. I'm sure that person, even if they had a car, it's a favor if you get to drive the G-Wagon. Like, come on, like I'll go get my car. Stop playing. That's what I was like. Go get my car.
This reminds me of a story though, Babcock. I don't know if you remember this, but we covered this a long time ago. Mike Tyson had like a Rolls Royce or a Bentley or something like that. And he's talked about this a lot out loud. That one time he was driving and like he got a flat tire or he like took it off the road or something like that. And this is when he was in his prime, when he had like millions and millions of dollars and he felt like he was the richest guy in the world. And instead of like getting a tow truck or something like that, he just left the car in the ditch, never to get it again, never to retrieve it, just because he thought like, I'll just get a new one. So I guess there's the mindset of like, when you're making that kind of money, who cares? It's just a little dippy car. But for the normal person like us, I would not leave a $135,000 G-Wagon on the side of the road.
Me neither. I don't want to speculate too much to get us in trouble, but I think, in my personal opinion, something seems a little bit fishy here. And that's all I'll say.